next Wednesday, the 27th, 10 a.m., Kelly Shackelford and his team is going to be in the Supreme Court making a case over a very, very important issue that might on its surface not seem like it. It's Bladensburg World War I Veterans Memorial. He is arguing this case, I believe, for, no, drew a blank. Anyway, I forgot what, American Legion, sorry, wow. Anyway, so Kelly's with us. Kelly, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Dan.
Kelly, we sure appreciate you. We appreciate the work you're doing. And I just want to urge people, if they go to your website now, because folks, we have to understand what this takes. It's an enormous amount of work, some committed folks there at First Liberty and Kelly arguing this case. We need you to support this, yes, financially, but need you to spread the news. So Kelly's going to tell us, why is this so important to the future of our religious liberties? Kelly?
Well, this course started, the facts are, this was a memorial put up almost 100 years ago by mothers who lost their sons in World War I. And it was to remember the 49 young men who died in World War I from that county. And it was a cross, and that was what was used in World War I. In fact, if you were to look at just the littered graves overseas, there was just cross after cross after cross. Those were the makeshift graves until as they were dying so fast. And so they used the cross as the symbol. And that was fine until the American Humanist Association filed a lawsuit and said, well, you've got to tear that down because we can't have a cross. It's now on government land. And, at the district court, we were able to win. But at the Court of Appeals, one of the judges actually said, well, why don't we just cut the arms off the cross because that'll take care of any offense. They literally talked about, cutting the arms of this cross off and desecrating this Veterans Memorial that's been up for almost 100 years. And the final decision by this Court of Appeals was that it was unconstitutional now and that it would have to be torn down. And, of course, that's bad enough. And what that would mean to those families and that memorial and that community, the idea of bulldozing a cross, I mean, every TV camera would be on that. Yeah. But it's worse because this court within its jurisdiction also is Arlington National Cemetery. So they would have to go into Arlington and tear down the large freestanding crosses in Arlington, and they would have to go into every community of every state of this country. And the bulldozing and sandblasting would be nothing like we'd ever seen. And this is a hostility to religion. I mean, if this is the law, this is going to permeate everything. Now, on the other side, though, Dan, I don't want to give people just doomsday. It would be horrible. On the other side, if we're able to win, which we really believe we're going to, we have a great chance of changing the approach that the court has been taking now for over 50 years that has created this hostility to religion by the government that the founders were never in favor of. We are really encouraging the court, now that we have new justices, to go back to what the Constitution actually says. The founders did not want us to establish a religion, but they wanted full free exercise. So the idea, the founders didn't want there to be a national church or the government to coerce people with regard to their religion, but they had no problem with a cross or 10 Commandments or religious expression. They were in favor of those things. So that's what we're asking the court to do, is really go back to the right approach, the right test, which would affect everything, and really stop this hostility to religion that we've been dealing with our whole life because of some of these bad court decisions in the past. It shows the absurdity of where those decisions lead, that they're ready to tear down a cross. By the way, Barna just came out with a poll. 84% of the country said leave it alone.
Yeah.
They asked how many people want to tear it down. 2%. So this is so extreme what is happening here, but it shows the hostility to religion and where things have gotten to.
First Liberty, one word, firstliberty.org, folks. As soon as you go to that website, we just did that on air, and you could see it happen. You're going to get a pop-up that's going to ask you to support this effort. and you hear how important it is, but more importantly, maybe than just supporting it is spreading it around. Send the link to everybody you know and tell them how important this is for our children and our grandchildren to be able to go to Arlington National Cemetery. We've got to win this case. Tell me what's going to happen Wednesday, Kelly.
Well, we're going to be arguing in the Supreme Court. There's a number, there's 4 different attorneys total that will be arguing. That'll last about an hour, a little under an hour and a half. The justices will ask, will be peppering everybody with questions. It's a very active type of an argument, very quick. What'll happen then is 2 days later on Friday, the justices will go into a room by themselves. No one else is allowed to be in there, and they will vote on the case. And let's say it's 5-4. Those 5 will start writing their opinion, and the 4 will start writing the dissent. And then they will trade over the next months their opinions to try to convince justices to jump ship and go, to the other side. And probably by late June is when most people expect the opinion to come down. So I would encourage people not only pray now, but pray all the way through June. I think we have a chance here. This could be the hinge point of history where we really change this approach that has been really not what the founders would be appalled that we're considering tearing down a cross like this. We can get back to what the founders meant, a full and vibrant religious freedom, and it could happen in our lifetime right here with this case. And so I really think while it's horrible what they're trying to do, the positive side of where we might be going is really incredible as well.
And folks, we need you to get on the front lines with firstliberty.org, with us here at Financial Issues. And you've got to first be praying. We need your prayers. Pray that the justices' eyes, ears would be open, and we've got to be praying for this. Everybody arguing this case, we've got to be praying first, but we have got to be supporting and coming alongside of First Liberty in every way that we can. And I hope that everybody will do that. So we're looking at next Wednesday, the 27th. Kelly, you are in D.C. now going through some kind of preparedness and practice runs, so to speak. And Wednesday is the real deal, and it's going to take probably till June before we get an answer. Wow.
Yeah, that's where the court ends their term at the end of June, so that's their deadline to get the decisions out. And the more controversial or well-known opinions, usually they work on a little longer, and so this is considered probably one of the most watched of the term. So most people think this will be late June. And folks, we need to be reminded this case is because of the will of a very few minority. I mean, this is that example of the minority of Americans, excuse me, driving the agenda, isn't it, Kelly? I mean, that's what it is. Yes, it is. And look, one of the neat things about this memorial, it's not being talked about a lot, but this is 1920, 1925 was when it was finally finished. I think not too long right after that, there were 30,000 Klansmen that marched on Washington, D.C. So, I mean, this was obviously a pretty tumultuous time. Do you know that of the 49 young men that their names are on that memorial, 10 of them are African American, and they weren't treated any differently than anybody else on there. They were all honored on that cross. So this is one of those things that is the best of what our country is about. This is honoring those who gave it all for our freedoms. And it's incredible that we're at a point where we have people wanting to tear down that memorial after almost 100 years that was put up by mothers who lost their sons in World War I and never had a gravestone because their son died overseas. This was essentially their gravestone. And that just shows how hostile things have gotten and how warped these approaches have gotten under the Establishment Clause. And that's why I also think it's a great opportunity. I think people realize that. They realize this has got to be changed. This is embarrassing. It should be embarrassing to the court. Let's get back to religious freedom, not this sort of religious cleansing that the founders would not be familiar with at all. we're for vibrant, open religious freedom. As long as the government's not coercing one with regard to their religion, then let's let crosses and Stars of David and Ten Commandments, rest in peace around the country.
Amen. Kelly Shackelford, President, First Liberty, firstliberty.org, folks. Please go there today, check it out, and pray. Would you start praying now? Let's be praying through this decision and just pray God's hand upon it. Kelly, we sure appreciate you. We thank you for what you're doing, and we are so grateful. And we'll be praying, and we'll continue to stay on the front lines with First Liberty. Thank you, brother.
Hey, thank you, Dan. Can't thank you enough.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, folks, firstliberty.org, firstliberty.org. Please go there. Check it out. Let's come alongside this. Let's get on the front lines. We'll be right back.